Diversity and inclusion has been a huge part of our hiring philosophy for a number of years now. And a lot of it comes down to ultimately our goal is to find the best possible talent to work on projects and deliver amazing results for our clients. And we learned very early on in the organization that the more diverse the backgrounds on our team, the more diverse the experience on our team, and the more kind of additional insights we could bring in, the better quality of the products, the better quality of the conversations that happen. We participate in a number of community groups across the country. I would say the most successful group that we've been a part of to date has been Hire Immigrants Ottawa. We've routinely been featured as a speaker and been able to participate in panels and community events through Hire Immigrants Ottawa. And I know we've received a number of candidate applications directly from those events. We invest a fair bit of time, not only locally here in Ottawa, but across the country in participating in events like job fairs and speaking opportunities, but also not always just presenting ourselves as an employer looking to hire, but helping coach new Canadians and new entrants to the job market on what the interview process is like and what we're specifically looking for when we're looking for candidates, and helping educate the broader community on how to be successful in their job hunt, and in some cases what kind of education is most relevant or in demand, at least in the tech and software world for us. Talent competition has been always intense in tech. It's been even more extreme in the last 2 years as more and more companies go virtual. So Iversoft is constantly looking at new strategies to make our work environment more appealing. We've done things like having a 4-day work week. We've had incredibly flexible schedules. We allow work from anywhere. We provide as much training tools, hardware resources as we can. And we've really invested in trying to make Iversoft as approachable and appealing for especially kind of new Canadians as possible. So we do a lot to make sure that there aren't any significant barriers for requesting an interview. We provide lots of time for people to do kind of skills exams. We provide a little bit of coaching through the interview process if people aren't necessarily familiar with how interviews in Canada proceed. And we're constantly trying to solicit feedback from both successful and unsuccessful candidates on what was kind of positive about the interview process and screening process versus where the areas are that we can improve. So it's kind of a constant evolution for us, but something we're investing heavily in, and hopefully it's been a very positive experience for our team. We've more than doubled the company in the last 2 years, and I think the vast majority of that talent has been fairly new and recent Canadians. So it's working out pretty well, and we're pretty excited by the amazing people that have been able to join the team that I think sometimes get overlooked in other hiring processes.
As a new immigrant and you are on the work permit, so getting the first job in the Canadian market was a little bit difficult, but at Iversoft that was like the one of the good thing. While I was searching for my first job in Canada after coming to the Canada, the problem was I was facing was like open work permit. So I was on work permit, so no company was want to hire me or anything like that. They do not want to see like how much experience I am bringing to the company. So that's one good thing about Iversoft. Once when I interviewed the Iversoft, they only focus more on like what I can bring to the company. It's not about.
But one of the things we identified very early on after going remote was the whole onboarding process was kind of turned upside down on its head compared to how we would typically do it in an office. So we've spent a lot of time focusing on systems where people get paired up with a buddy when they start within the company. So not only do they have their kind of direct manager and kind of skip level manager, they've also got somebody within their team that they can kind of go to as a day-to-day contact for asking questions or getting set up. We make sure equipment arrives at people's houses before they start. We also have some really cool tools within the company's communication tools like Slack, where people on a bi-weekly basis get paired up for kind of donut coffees with other people in the organization. So you get kind of a spontaneous booking with someone else in the company, and Donut will encourage you to book a 15 or 30-minute coffee with them for a social chat. In addition to that, a lot of our new hires will get a ton of kind of Starbucks gift cards to book virtual coffees with a bunch of people in the company, so they get to know people from different divisions within the company. And we really try and encourage a lot of that kind of social interaction and getting to know not only the team you're going to be working with immediately, but if you're coming into, say, the dev environment, you're going to get a chance to have a coffee with somebody in marketing and in sales and in project management. And especially as a leadership team, we try and make sure we're all extremely accessible for that as well. I think everyone on our C-level and our director level participates in the donut coffees and gets a chance to have awesome chats with a lot of our new hires on a fairly regular basis.
Another thing which I found very useful after the onboarding was like the buddy process, which Graham just told you about. So what happens when you're new to any country? So you have many questions. Let's, for example, how you file your taxes, how other things works in the, like how you get your new car. So those are kind of questions you can ask your colleagues, but you know, in the virtual world, we are all go remote. So those questions you cannot ask any colleague. So that's the buddy process come into the picture, where you can ask this kind of small question, which you can't ask through the leadership committee, but yes, you can ask your colleague and get the good information. So that's one of the good thing, which onboarding, which helps me to comfortable on the new country, also in the new work environment. So that's one of the great process we follow as a buddy process. Also, one of the approach, so from the hiring to onboarding to continuing doing my job, was the positive approach for the leadership. So in the first month of my hiring, I get the chance to meet each and every person on the leadership team, like from my CEO, CTO, COO. So this was not the case in any other company, if I can recall. So that's a positive approach which Iversoft bring to the newcomers. Like if leadership committee can do one video call with you, that's like the most motivating part as an employee, which makes you like the more comfortable in your.
So we're constantly looking at new programs and piloting different things to make Iversoft a more inclusive and accessible place to work. Some of those examples come down to the way we do check-ins with employees. We do check-ins at 30 days, 90 days, and then kind of every 6 months after that. And one of the things we've done recently, because we've realized that depending on people's personality and confidence and honestly experience, sometimes financial discussions about compensation and discussions around job performance can both be really stressful things. And it's even more stressful if you do it all at the same time. So we've built a process where employees are able to do kind of the performance review one-on-one conversation separately, and then they get a template and a guide from our HR team on how to have a financial conversation and how to do market research on what their role and compensation should look like, and be able to have a form that they can then bring to their manager to have a separate conversation around finance. And that can either be kind of an email conversation, it can be a video call, it can be a Slack conversation. So that's one example where we're trying to break down barriers for if people are going to be made incredibly uncomfortable in a situation like that, or haven't been through something like that before, trying to give them options and tools to work with on that. We're currently looking at different tools for ESL training for people that maybe have really, really strong written English communication, but have struggled historically on some of the verbal communication. If we can bring some English language training in as part of their kind of onboarding and training throughout the company, that's something we're pretty keen to do. And I know I touched on it a little bit earlier, but one of the big things that I think helps make us a very comfortable place to work is the flexible schedule. And like one thing Iversoft has done since going remote is our core business hours are between 10 and 3 Monday through Thursday. Those are the core hours that we expect people to typically be available to be booked in meetings. Outside of that, people have a lot of flexibility to choose when and where they're putting in time to complete their job. This makes it a lot easier for people to attend appointments, to take care of kids, to make sure that they've got balance within their family, if they've got other responsibilities that they're juggling, and not be stressed out about having to be kind of glued to a screen from the time you wake up to the time dinner's ready at the end of the day. And I think all of those together are helping create a more comfortable environment for new employees and also new Canadians coming into the company.
quarterly reviews, or plus every 6 month review. That helps newcomer a lot, because when you coming to new countries, the first problem you might face is like the language barrier or little bit culture behavior. So that's one of the good thing on the quarterly reviews. We get feedback from the leadership committee, like what things to improve. Because let's say, for example, as a newcomer, you might tend to think like you are like feeling out of context because you are not have the good command on the English language. So that's one of the good feedback which I got from the leadership. Also the small things which I get the support. If I bring the one example, let's say for example, we have the one virtual dinner where the company will send the food packages. So I was only vegetarian person in the entire company. So company, in the small steps, company also offer like the vegan food options for only one person, which is like the new to company in the first month of the joining the company. These are the small actions which can you can imagine like the company also seeing as the small options. Like different people have the different like the culture. Like I'm coming from the culture where like we only eat the vegetarian food, and company also thinking, yes, there is a one person who is a vegetarian, so we should include the vegetarian option into the menu. So these are the small steps which feel you. As a newcomer, if you go for the job hunting, like the environment right now, like the first job getting in Canada is like too much hard. Like people either ask for your Canadian experience, they do not see like how much experience you are bringing from another country. So those are the things which I felt which other companies are looking for, but that's not the case with the Iversoft. Iversoft looks like what you are bringing to the company, what your experience is. Not no matter you have the Canadian experience or the international experience. So that's not the case with all of the companies. So that's a ground reality, you can say. Like either they ask you for any reference, which Canadian reference, which is hard to get if you are a new, like if you are like 3 months into Canada, you do not have any reference to put on your resume, or do not have any reference to give
Like,
to the company.
it cannot possibly be understated the value and quality that gets brought to the team when you brought in where you're looking for talent. And like as Sanam said, like especially in software, companies that are looking exclusively at Canadian experience or expecting every applicant to have a bunch of local references or only recognizing kind of Canadian education, you're missing out on the vast majority of the talent on the planet. And there is so much opportunity to recruit incredible people that bring so much to the team. I encourage anyone to be more open in their policies and look at what parts of your process or what parts of your onboarding or screening are inherently bringing bias that you're probably not seeing. If you don't have the objectivity or the talent in house to take a look at those processes, find an organization like Hiring Immigrants Ottawa and reach out within your community and get some guidance and coaching on how to become a more accessible organization for new Canadians, because I think there's so much benefit in it.